Welcome along, everyone. uh, you might have seen the start of this video a couple of months back when I put this big piece of chestnut on the lathe, and I roughed it down to leave it to dry. Uh, it wasn't totally soaking, but it had been down for a number of months, and when I first turned it, it was still quite wet inside. So this is the second turning of it, and to finish piece. Uh, remove quite a bit of timber here in this, and change the shape now. Uh, the piece also has quite a lot of inclusions in it, bits of bark, and a few wee holes here and there, but nothing really to worry about. Uh, some of them will turn away when I start shaping it down to the final shape, and just sit back and watch and see what I end up coming up with. Uh, it was great to turn this piece because it had been sitting for a number of months. So if you're looking for this uh, on my channel, it was quite. It's about maybe 3 4 months ago. You'll be able to see the piece I started with. It was quite a big lump of wood, and I had to bring it down to that size there you see now to let it dry out. So you can see I'm trying to true this up. Just take my time and uh, trying to get the speed up here because it's quite out of balance still, even though it hasn't moved that much, but the piece itself with the inclusions in it, it's still heavy on one side, and it's throwing it off balance. So you can see I'm just gingerly working my way around the diameter of the piece to get it trued up, and then I'm making a decision how much I'm going to take off the top, and how much or what I want to finish the bottom. So I'm getting quite a nice finishing cut on this, going with a push cut, and it's coming out quite well. It's better than I expected it to be. So I'll wait and see what we'll come up with. Okay, taking a little bit off the top here just to true it up. You can see it's running nice and true now. So I'll have a wee look at it and see where we are. You can see there's a nasty big inclusion there. It's missing quite a bit of timber at the top there. I think initially I will take that away and bring it down to the end of that. I still haven't decided on the final shape of it. yet. Uh, I'm just trying a couple of push cuts here to see what sort of finish you can get on it. Initially, it's not a. It's coming up nice, quite nice. A few wee bits torn out grain, but hopefully I'll be able to rectify that. So here I'm just I had too much of a cut there, so just eased off and taken another cut coming down to the bottom. Now, a piece like this here, and there's quite a few inclusions in it, your tool gets quite dull very quick, so it does. So yeah, if you think it's dull at all, just go and sharpen it for a couple of seconds. All it takes to get a nice cut. It cuts a lot cleaner and a lot easier with a sharp tool. So I'm picking up the rest of this cut here. So I want to bring that right round to the bottom. So I'm just taking my time. The feed rate, just slow it right down. Just let the timber cut. See people all the time just pushing it right through just to get round to the bottom. If you do that, you'll get a lot of tear out. You just take your time and let the tool cut. Now it's not crucial, but I always treat it as a finishing cut every cut I do, and that way it gives you practice of holding your gouge right in the bevel and getting the nicest cut you can get, so you don't have a lot of sanding. You can see there it's a lovely finish. Very little sanding. There's another hole where bark inclusion was. There's a wee bit there I'll have to take out. It's on its way out, and what you don't want to do, leave it and then it comes out and hits you up the face. So if you're doing anything like that here, I suggest you wear your face shield. So be wearing your face shield anyway in your own workshop, because you never know the minute a piece will fly off, especially on a piece like this here, where there's a few bark inclusions and holes, and trust me, you don't want to find out the hard way that one of the pieces hitting you up the face. Yeah, some nice figure in this, colours and so on. As I said at the start, this is a piece of chestnut. This is the second turning of it, so hopefully I'm just trying to negative rate scraper here to see what sort of finish I can get off it. It's nice turning big pieces like this, because yeah, I got this given to me by my good friend Ricky, and it looked like nothing when I got it. It was terrible looking. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So you're better off rough turning it down to about an inch thick all around, and let it air dry in your workshop. This is where this piece has been sitting for the last couple of months on the shelf, just gradually drying out on its own pace. And as long as you give it a good chance of drying out, it shouldn't warp too much. I've seen very little cracking in it, In fact, there's no cracking in it at all, which is surprising, you know, because it was a wet piece of timber when I got it. Okay, we've changed cameras to the front here. So I'm just going to take some of this timber off the rim. I haven't touched the inside yet. We still have to do that. So I'm just trying to fill it up the best I can, so that it's running nice and through, and getting very little vibration. You can see on the inside of that it's still quite wobbly. The top of that ribbon is cleaning okay, apart from that big hole. It's on the right hand side. Oh, it's on top now. Alright, so I'm going to take a couple of cuts into the inside on the side walls and try and get a feel for what thickness I want to leave this. Get a wee bit of light on the subject so I can see down into the bottom here. And again, you want to think about your wall thickness and the bottom of the piece, what your thickness is like there, because it's very easy to go down the side wall and go too far, and when you go to through the bottom over, uh, you find that you've gone too far and end up going through the piece. So all I'm doing here is trying to get a nice clean cut on the inside wall, and then I'll work on the bottom. So I take a couple of more cuts at this and see what happens. I think the thickness I want here is roughly around about 3/4 of an inch or half inch. at the minimum. It's quite a big bowl, so you don't want to make it too flimsy. It's cutting quite nice. Just thinking to myself here about the thickness in the wall thickness here. Okay, I've just changed 2 pots here to get me further into the bowl. You don't want to overhang too far with your gouge. If you get a wee catch, it'll put it straight into the bottom, and it's not nice. So move your tool rest as far or as close as you can get it. So I'm working on the fairy transition round the corner here to that curve. Just trying to get a better flowing cut here from the side wall round and down until it comes across the bottom. Right, I'm coming back up the wall here on the side, and then I'll try and get one continuous cut on down to the bottom where it comes round onto the very bottom of the bowl. I'm still getting hung up on these couple of wee inclusions here as well. The tool's jittering a wee bit, where it's skipping over the bad parts, especially that big hole there. It's cleaning up quite nice, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to use a big rhino scraper here, see if we can get a better cut on it. This is just to help me bring the 2 cuts together so it's nice and even with each other, even though it's not a finished piece yet. You can see nice shavings coming off it. Just taking my time, let the gouge do the work. Okay, just changing over to a longer reach. Over here to let me get in around the bottom there. So you want to be above center if you're using a scraper, and we just want to gingerly slide across the bottom of that, and the closest you can get to the wood here, the better, because it gives you better control of the gouge as you bring it across. I'm just taking light cuts here because at that stage I'm not quite sure about the thickness on the bottom here, but it should be okay. And we'll just stop here and have a wee look and a wee feel. Any wee ridges, you want to take those out. It's come together quite nice now. Okay, we're removing some of this timber from the top here to get rid of that inclusion. It was on that one side. I didn't like the way it was looking, so I'm going to bring it down past it and make it so it's not left with a big hole at the very top. So just removing some timber, take my time, stop it and have a look and see how far we have to go. You can see we're almost down to the bottom of the inclusion. Again, we'll just stop it and have a look. It's almost there. Again, we can see we're almost down to the very bottom of that inclusion. I think there's still a wee bit left. I think I'm deciding here, should I take it down past that or just leave it where it is. Okay, we'll just change to rest again. We're going to do a wee bit of work on the very top of the outside. I want to put a wee bead just to break the plainness up. So you can see we've just marked the diameter of our bead. Just removing some timber to give me a wee bit of room. Okay, I've got a spindle spin look out here, and we're just rounding that bead over. So I'm looking at this here, underneath the bottom here, where the bottom of the bead here, it looks a wee bit heavy, just where my hand is. I think we'll take some of that away, so that when the bowl comes up from the bottom, it sort of flows under the underneath side of the bead. Still taking a wee bit more timber off the top of that bridge or the rim. Okay, we're just taking a bit of that timber I was talking about earlier away from the underneath of the bottom of that bead there, just so it flows a wee bit better and doesn't like too bulky at this part here. And I'm just taking my time, let the chisel do the cutting, don't be forcing it. Just keeping the gouge bevel in contact with the wood. Just taking my time, and it'll take all that roughness off it and reduces the tear out as well. Especially in this piece here where you have end grain and side grain going round back and forward. So we have that one more inclusion there, and there's a wee bit of it. It wants to come out, so I'm just going to help it on its way here. We'll just poke it out. Safer to take it out now than have it fly out and hit you up the face. It's not nice when it happens. You just need to take extra care when you're doing pieces like this here, because you just don't know what's going to happen. Just bringing that bottom in a bit more. I just wanted to come around a wee bit more. I think there's too much of a want more of a curve on it to go around the transition into the bottom. That'll help me with that inclusion too, because that it'll reduce the size of it. So just coming up halfway, and bring the chisel down, and let that come right round. Bring that round to get my shape. having our wee look here. The initial finish on it is quite good. Very little tear out. That's what you want. You don't want an awful lot of tear out. And spend a lot of time sanding. The better you can leave it off the tool will help you. So I always play it, take it up a wee bit at a time and practice your cut, your finishing cut. While there's plenty of timber there, there's still quite a bit to take off this to just where I want it to be. So take your time and just play with the cut. It's all practice. And the end goal here is to get the best finish you can off the tool, and then it'll help you with the sanding. Nobody likes sanding, and especially if you have to do a whole lot of it. It's not nice. So I think I'm thinking to myself here, will I take a wee bit more off this or not? Yeah, I'm just bringing that down into that bottom of the cove, or the bead there, rounding it a wee bit more at the top. And you can see at the top of the screen where the bowl, your shadow line there, you can see a better shape. Okay, just looking at it, I think I need to take a wee bit more off it. So just refining my bead, give it a wee bit more shape. That looks okay. I'll just run a scrape around this to see if we can get any more. A better feel for the very bottom here. There's more end grain sitting, and there's a wee bit more torn out on the rest. So we'll just try, see what tool gets the best finish. We're just cutting that in a wee bit cleaner, just cleaning up the very bottom of that bead. That's not looking too bad, Paul. I've seen a wee mark there just on the top of the bead. Just give it a wee shear scrape around the bottom here just to blend all that in. Okay, we're on to the sanding of the piece. and nobody likes watching anybody sand, so I've sped it up, and I'll just show you a wee bit. I'm not going to bore you with all the sanding. Everybody knows about sanding. You want to start with your highest grit and work your way, or lowest grit to your highest grit. So I started at 120 here, and we're just giving it a good going over, and we'll stop and check your piece from time to time before you move on to the next grit. Pieces like this here where there's wee beads and all on the outside, you'll have to do by hand, just to get in those wee tight angles. You can't get it in with the sanding arbor, so and the more time you spend on your sanding, the better finish you'll get. And it lets a lot of people down on their finish because they didn't spend enough time sanding the wee marks, tool marks and wee bits. Okay, that's all the sanding done. You're glad to hear. I'm definitely glad to see it. About a good half hour sanding in this piece, inside and out. Not that there was anything wrong over the piece. I just wanted to take my time and get the best finishing card. You know, if you're doing a big piece like this here, you want to do the best you can with it. So we're just applying a sand sealer to this here. It'll drink the stuff here because it is very dry. This is when you can see the true beauty of the wood shining through. Once you put a wee taste of finish onto something, just squirting it in here because it's just soaking it up. You can see that nice pattern in there and the colours of the wood. There's a few bits of ripple on the outside piece. You'll see that when I change cameras to show you the outside. So I don't have, I don't apply any oils or anything like that there. I like to use the crystalline wax, and it's down to my preference because if everybody seems to put oil and stuff like that there, but I find if you start going down that route, you have to let the piece dry and then knock it back and apply a number of coats in between sanding and stuff. And I like to try and finish the piece on the day. You know, you don't really like carrying over into the second day. So you can see here we're starting to do the outside. The true beauty of the wood just comes through when you put a wee taste of sand sealer on it. I think I just noticed a wee slight mark on the bead there. Sand sealer will show any imperfections up. It's hard to tell with the light there. The light is one thing I'm working on. A got a couple of diffusers over my light sources here, but it seems to be very bright on the very top. And then what I've done to it, it just seems to be, it looks good as I stand and looking at it, but when you see it on the camera, it looks totally different. So the light's reflecting on the very top of the piece, but in saying that, you can see it a lot better here when the lathe is stopped. So it might just be an effect of the lathe spinning and it's getting shiny, and the light's picking up more on it. But anyway, you don't want to hear about the light, my light problems. So again, we're just starting to, after it was sand sealer, that it sort of raised the grain, so we're knock it back. We'll go down to 320 just to knock that back again, and then we'll plan our coat and so on. Okay, all the sand is finished. I have knocked it back after applying the sand sealer to it. I'm going to use some Yorkshire grit on the inside here. And if you're not familiar with Yorkshire grit, it's an abrasive paste, and it just helps eliminate any wee fine scratches you have. So again, this will show up any imperfections in the wood. So the way this works, you apply a nice generous coat of it, turn your speed down and work it into the piece. To get the best results, I think you need to work at it for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just working it in, and let the paste do its job. Now this is not a finish, this is an abrasive paste, and it does exactly what it says. It'll take any wee fine marks out, but it won't take the deep scratches out. And you can see I'm fairly nearly down to the bottom of that tub, and getting my money's worth out of it. So I spent a wee bit of time here with the cloth here, going over all the different parts of the inside and just around the rim here. So it'll take about 10 to 15 minutes from doing that. I'm going to stop it and move on. Okay, I've give it a good going over with the Yorkshire grit. Now I'm going to take any excess off with a nice big clean piece of kitchen towel. And the way you do that is just keep going over until there's no transfer onto the paper. That's what I'm doing here. You want to remove all the excess Yorkshire grit from the piece before you put your final finish on it. So you can see when I take the paper off, it's nice and brown. When you see no brown on your paper, you know that you've removed all the excess stuff. So it's just a matter of keep going over until it's all removed. Then you can apply your finish. So the finish on this will be crystalline wax. It's a chestnut product. I quite like their waxes. Bought a different one off the internet and I wasn't overly impressed. So again, you want to spend a time taking off all the residue from the piece, changing your paper to a clean side, and make sure you get it all off before you go any further. Okay, that's all that removed. We'll just give it a that wee inclusion or blow out with the airline. If there's any residue stuck in the wee fissures. You can see it does bring the bowl up a nice shine on it. That's because there's a wax on that Yorkshire grit. But don't be misled by that, because it'll dull down, it won't stay like that. So I think I've removed all the extra at this stage. So we'll just apply our finishing wax. And this is the same tin I've had for the year and a half. I think I'm going to use all the wax that's in this tin on this bowl here. There's not much left on it. I was hoping to stretch it out to the end of the month, but it's not. Doesn't look likely. So you want to give it a good coat of your finished coat, which this case is crystalline wax from Chestnut. And again, rub it well in and all over the piece. And there's a solvent in this wax, so you need to give it a couple of minutes to flash off, and then you can buff it up. Okay, I've let that sit for about 10 minutes there and let that solvent flash off, and now I'm just giving it a quick buff up. You don't want to apply too much pressure onto the piece, or you'll create friction and create heat, and that'll just melt the wax again. The idea is just to buff it over gently, and you'll get the desired finish you're looking for by applying more coats and giving it time to dry between coats. So initially I have only one coat on this, but I probably will put about 3 coats of wax onto this. You know, sometimes when you're in your workshop and you go to get a certain thing and you can't find it. This is what I'm doing here in the background. I'm looking for my cool jaws, and I just spattered them. They're up on the shelf above me. There they are. So I'm just measuring this up to see if I need to move the buttons or not. And by chance I don't have to move the buttons, because they're never right when you go to use cool jaws for remounting your piece to take the foot off. Okay, so I've got that mounted onto the cool jaws. We're just going to remove the foot and clean the bottom of the bowl up. Just bringing the tailstock up, just to give me a wee bit of support, because this is an expansion in the cool jaws, and you don't want to put too much pressure on it, because you could pull it off. So at the same time, even though the tailstock's there, you want to take your time when you're taking any timber off the bottom of this. These wee light cuts, take it slowly and easy, and you'll get there in the end. If you go rough and hard at it, you'll end up pulling it off and making a whole mess of it. At this stage of the game, you've spent an awful lot of time on this bowl, sanding and finishing it. So just take your time and you'll get there in the end. So remember, when you're using cold jaws, you can't take it above 500 to 700 revs. Depending on what cold jaws that you have, will tell you the speed on them. So we're just using our full gouge here, and we're just going to take some nice light cuts across the face of the bottom here. This is a better angle to see just what I'm taking away. So there's about 10 mil to come off the bottom, the very bottom of the bowl. I'm not talking about the tannin. So I'm just undercutting it here so it sits nice and flat on the surface. And just round the very bottom of the bowl here, you can see a wee light cut there. You can see it. It's just a wee shadow line. It gives the effect of the bowl sitting on the table. It's floating, you know, because it doesn't have it has that wee shadow line at the very bottom, giving you the illusion that it's floating. So again, you just want to take your time here, nice and slow, and let the gouge do the cutting. And start taking some of that tannin away. And having the tailstock there is a good idea because it gives you that wee bit of extra security while you do that. Okay, just change camera angle again so you can get a better look to see what I'm doing here. I think this is where most newcomers to wood turning find it difficult to get the foot off. How you go about it, because you need to think beforehand, how am I going to hold this piece on the lathe. Also, you have to think about how you want to take it off. There's many different ways of mounting stuff onto the lathe, and it's just about working with one of them and just working with that one technique to get used to it. Especially in bowls and the like, boxes and stuff like that. Goblets would be another one. You need to really think of how am I going to finish this piece and remove it from the lathe. So you can see I am just seeing that cut up. I've checked it with a ruler to make sure it's undercut, and undercut means that it's what is it, going inward, convexed or concaved. I can remember. I just keep getting it mixed up. Anyway, you can see I'm just removing a wee bit more timber to make sure it's well away from being able to rock on the surface when you put it down on the table. So I need to remove a wee bit more of this wee nub, and I've just changed over the 1/4 inch spindle gouge here to get me a wee bit further in, closer. The more you can take off here, the better of the chance of you turn a big lump of timber out if you try to break it off. We'll just remove a wee bit of tension of the tailstock here. You'll see me moving it back. You can see the ruler there. There's plenty of a gap underneath that. So I'm just relieving the tension off this. I haven't taken it truly all the way. The very tip, oh there you are. The very tip is just, it's because it's spring loaded, will hold that wee bit, but it gives you that wee bit of room to get in again, and you've seen that it just falls off when you go to cut it. So that's the very bottom, that's the tenon removed and a nice flat bottom on it. So all it needs is another wee bit of sanding and we're done. This has been a very enjoyable afternoon in the shed. Finishing this piece off, I started about 4 to 5 months ago. As I said, if you look at my videos, you'll see that piece of that big piece of wood, which was rough turn. If you want to look at the whole start of the video. So this video is running up to about just coming up on the hour mark. I think I had it about 2.5 hours into this, and I've managed to get an hour and a half off it by editing. Most of the stuff you don't need to see. There's quite a couple of breaks in it where I done a bit of tidying up and stuff, and hunting around for things when I couldn't find them. You know, all that stuff you don't need to see because it's just wasting time. So again, slap a lathe, wee bits, pieces need sanded just the lathe stopped. And this piece turned out actually better than what I thought it was going to be. I came out this afternoon and I walked into the shed and I was going to do something totally different. And I looked at, the more I looked, this piece looking at me, is sort of crying out to me, when are you going to finish me? You know, it's like most people have pizzas in their workshops and they sit there for months and months, maybe years before they get it even finished, and it clutters up the workshop. So all you can do is finish them as you go along, and you don't have the clutter sitting about. It's nice to finish a piece, you know, it really is. If you're doing a big piece like this here and it was rough turn, you know, you can't obviously finish it at the end of the day because it'll warp and crack if you try to do that. Piece of wood at the start I started with wasn't very appetizing at all. I was just in two thoughts where to cut it up into smaller planks and use it, or keep it as one big piece. And I sort of thinking to myself now, I'm glad I did, because it's a gorgeous piece of wood, and those wee inclusions in it, and a nice grain and colour in it. Chestnut can be a very bland type of wood, and sometimes you don't get an awful lot of colour. It's merely pale looking, but this has turned out quite nice. So that's all the sanding done. We're just applying a nice wee coat of sand sealer to the bottom of this, and around that wee line at the bottom. Just applying a wee taste of Yorkshire grit again to the bottom of it. Just take my time, rub it well into it. It helps with all those wee fine lines, because you'll see every indentation or mark that's left from the tool or sandpaper. As I said, this will remove wee fine things, but it won't take any deep scratches out. You'll have to do that with the gouge. But I'm enjoying turning this afternoon. It's a nice piece. Like turning big pieces, and you can see the true beauty of the wood. So we'll just turn the speed up a wee bit, and we'll just buff over that and polish that up. And again, it's up to yourselves how many coats of wax you put on. I'll probably give this 1 or 2 coats, or I might just buff it up with the Beal buffing system and give it a wee taste of Canuba wax on top of that to bring the true shine to it. Some people don't like an awful shiny piece. It's just down to your own personal taste at the end of the day. Do what you want to do. Don't listen to people saying, oh, it's too shiny, or you know, you didn't use enough of this and stuff. That looks really nice. It's a nice piece of wood. Give it a wee coat. I think I'm scraping the barrel of this tin here, just wiping the last wee bit out of it. Brian will be glad to see that. She's keeping me going. How far are you going to get with this tin, Mr. Finlay? Well, you can see the tin is empty now. So just getting that an all over coat now. So that'll be 2 coats on the side of it. The tin's empty. That means I'll have to break open a new tin. So, a wee bit of spinning time to let that sun flash off, and we'll just give it a quick buff up. Not applying too much pressure. You don't want to create too much friction and create heat. Now you'll melt the wax again and get streaks all over it. It's just a light buff, a light pressure, and that'll come up gorgeous. And it feels nice and smooth. So that's it finished, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Try to make my content a bit interesting, varied, and a wide range of stuff. I like to do a lot of things that some people don't do, and gives you good ideas of doing things you haven't seen before. So there you are. That's the bowl and finished after about 5 months of waiting. Thanks for watching.